I love it. And all right, I think we're live. Can you guys hear me and see me okay? Am I coming through on your end, Emily and Ben?
Yep.
Yep.
Sounds good.
Love it. Everyone in the comments, as you're tuning in, let us know if you can hear us and you can see us okay. We never know what's going to happen. Tech's been a little glitchy, a little buggy lately, but hopefully everything's going to go over just fine. So today we got a really, really exciting guest coming in to speak and share her insights and her story with all of you that I know is going to be very motivating. It's going to be eye-opening, and it's going to change the way you look at certain things within your marketing and hopefully make you believe that you can do things that are just as amazing and grow at the same kind of rate that Emily and her husband's Clay's practice, 901 Physical Therapy, has been able to achieve over the last couple of days. So what we're going to be doing is taking a look at the styles and strategies that Emily's been implementing within her Facebook ads that have allowed her to add just about almost little under 20 grand to her bottom line through her Facebook ads at an average ROI. And I did the math on this, Emily, because it's actually insane.
Good.
The average ROI that you hit, besides February with the weird snowstorm, we're going to talk about that, but you're averaging an ROI of about 10.7 month after month, which has been that's insane. So what we're going to be doing with all of you is basically dissecting Emily's campaigns, her strategies, talking a little bit about her avatar, and then Ben and I are going to do our absolute best to help her take her campaigns to the next level, because we know that no-shows are a challenge, not just for her, but for a lot of people. And maximizing the ROI of every single person that joins that email list and getting people to make sure that they're as invested as humanly possible before they get on your email list, and just capitalizing on every single lead that comes in through your Facebook ads and from other places. So tonight's gonna be a really, really fun live. So Emily, thank you so much for being here. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yeah, we know you have mother duties this evening, so we really appreciate the time. And
Yeah, you may see some kids running in here.
Yeah. So can you just tell us a little bit about you and Clay's practice, and when you got started, and basically where you're at before you found our team?
Sure. So I think we're coming up, it's been a little over 3 years. I'm not a physical therapist. My husband, Clay Jones, he is our main guy. And he started doing this about 3.5 years ago, but pretty quickly from, pretty much the beginning, I was very involved and just kind of helping him do the behind the scenes, work. And I was basically like our, administrative assistant, office manager from home. We also have 4 kids. And at the time I had a part-time job. So things were a little crazy in the beginning. We have now been at our current location for right at a year. Before that, we were renting space in a gym. And so I guess we did that for about 1.5 years or so. So for a year, we've been in a freestanding location. We have, Clay is now down to seeing about 15 hours a week of patients. And then we just hired our 3rd full-time physical therapist. And these ads were really pivotal because he's been PRN all of 2020. We were supposed to hire him in last April before the pandemic hit. So our goal this whole year is to get him to full-time, which we just did as of this week. And we have another contract therapist that we just brought on. So our goal is to get her full-time as well. We see a lot of just active people, CrossFitters, see a lot of runners, just everyone who's active in Memphis. That's kind of our main avatar. And we've partnered with a lot of local gyms and have a lot of really good relationships with local gyms. We've done a whole lot of networking in the past few years. So I think the ads have been really pivotal and just kind of like springboarding off of all the other like in-person, networking, marketing that we've been doing over the past few years.
Yeah, well, that's got to feel freaking great, right? Like, how does it feel to start bringing on staff to kind of reduce the burden on Clay to just carry the?
It's fantastic for him.
Yeah,
fantastic.
Ben, you remember how it felt to hire your first person?
Yeah, it was. It was the biggest relief ever. It was the best decision that I made in my practice was bring on a physical therapist. And and seeing like the relatively passive revenue come in when you see like, hey, there's another physical therapist seeing another patient, and there's revenue coming in, and you're not actually doing, you know, the work, right? So it was the biggest pivot or shift in my practice. So yeah,
Yeah.
100% agree.
Yeah, and we have amazing staff of people, and they each kind of have their own like little niche. You know, we've got somebody who really is amazing at Olympic weightlifting, and somebody who like loves seeing the runners and all that kind of stuff. And so it's been neat to just use all of their skill sets and kind of put it together in this really fun, motivated team. And that's kind of one of the favorite parts that we have.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. Well, congratulations. I know you have been working at that for quite a while, so that has to feel good. Pass that along to Clay, 'cause that's awesome.
Yeah, I will.
So tell us a little bit about how, I mean, you said you're doing networking, you're doing all of the grassroots stuff, it sounds like. What kind of led you down the Facebook ad route? When did you decide that that was the direction you wanted to go?
You know, I've always been kind of interested in Facebook ads. Before we started our own clinic, I used to work for a local wedding photographer. And I did a lot of her marketing, like her social media and blogging and stuff like that. So, and I just was teaching myself everything, you know, so it's not like I have like a past career necessarily, but I was helping her in the same kind of like local marketing things. And so I learned a lot in that job. But I remember as I was researching for like, well, how do I get her name out there? And I'm like, social media ads are the way to go. And so then we started this business. I always knew that that's where we had to be headed. But every time I would just because I'm the kind of person that like, I can kind of figure out most things on my own, you know, like I like to kind of do my research and then I'll kind of like figure it out. But every time I would like dip my toe into trying to figure out Facebook ads, I'm like, there is so much there, you know, and I would just end up more confused, you know, because I'm like, there's so many strategies. Everybody thinks that there's a different way. And so I always knew that that was how we would scale and how we would really like get a good ROI for our efforts. And, but it just still felt kind of like, I am not equipped to implement this on my own and with my own resources. So I think when I saw your ads, I was like, well, it was exactly what I had been looking for. Like, it's what I already knew that I needed. I'm like, I just need somebody to like take my hand and like walk me through this and teach me how to do it. And that's what this program's been really great for.
Yeah, well, I appreciate that. I mean, a lot of people are obviously in a very similar situation that you're in. And I think like the traditional thing is always like, I'm going to go hire an agency or some outside group to take care of this because I don't want to think about it. I want to focus on the clinical side of things and that's it. Why did, obviously you're not a PT, but why did you decide that you wanted to do it yourself instead of outsourcing it?
I think because I didn't want to pay for it. You know, like I just always was like, I don't even know what that's going to cost. We've always been very, we've kept our costs really, really low, you know, this whole time. And they've grown as we've added staff and location and stuff like that. But like, we've been very, frugal from the beginning. And that's been really good for us, you know, to build some stability in our business. So honestly, I'm just too cheap to go hire a big agency. But at the same time, I kind of found myself against a rock and a hard place, you know, because I'm like, I can't do this on my own, but we can't afford to go hire somebody else. And also I was like, I don't know if I want to go to just some agent, like somebody that doesn't know our industry, you know, and doesn't know our niche. I was like, I don't know if I want to go just get somebody, you know, that like maybe they know ads, but I don't know if they know what we're really trying to do here, you know?
That's
Exactly. Exactly. I'm gonna bounce off that a little bit too, because I gave it a try with an agency in the past, and like you said, I'm like, the thing is nobody knows your patients or your niche like you do. And so if they don't know your niche or your clients, they can't speak to that person. And with ads to grab somebody's attention, you have to be able to speak directly to them. And they were getting us a lot of leads. But it wasn't like our ideal patient. So the person that opted in didn't see the value in what we did. So it was a lot of wasted time on my end on the calls, a lot of people that weren't going to commit to Plan of Cares anyways. And so our ROI on that was terrible. And it all went back to, they didn't know our ideal client, or ideal, patient. And so it just didn't work out. And that's what I love about what Jordan and Max do too, is that it teaches you how to implement it, because again, nobody knows
Yes.
your clients like you do as well. So
Yeah, exactly. Because we've put, it's been a few years and we've put a ton of thought into like, who is our ideal client? Like, where are they hanging out? What do they like? We've done all the thought to that. So I think this has been a really good bridge to like now take all of that about your people, and here's how to reach them on Facebook. So I think that's been really pivotal for us.
yeah, absolutely.
Well, what do you think was what part were you the most afraid of going into it? Because obviously, like, there's a ton of stuff. You looked at it before. What was the part that you're like,
Yeah.
I don't know if I could do this? What was there even a moment for you like that?
About this program specifically?
Just about doing it yourself. Yeah. Was there any doubt about being able to manage that stuff yourself, or something that scared you the most?
It scared me before I found you, because I knew that it was going to be up to me to figure this out. And like, I couldn't, it was just too much information, So no, I mean, honestly, once I found y'all and started working with you and had some calls with you and kind of bounced off like, well, here's where we are, here's our needs, here's what I was just excited, because like, I honestly was like, this is exactly what I'm looking for. This is exactly like the step to take at this stage in our business. So honestly, everything just felt like really like the right steps. So no, once I found you and like the program, I was just excited.
It makes us excited. We're super thrilled to have you when you join the program. Obviously, you hit the ground running. I mean, that first month in November when you joined, you did a little over 5K. So what do you think it was that, was the most, that contributed the most to your success within that first couple, weeks?
So the first couple of weeks, it was back when y'all were doing like a 2-week class. And so I was in that. And so it was more of like a paced modules. And so I was doing something every single day to put together these ads. So really, I just jumped in there and started creating things from day one. And then my gears started spinning and I'm taking notes and I'm like, well, let's do this. And I wonder if I could do that, And so honestly, I kind of just enjoy it, and so, but I didn't really waste much time. And I just kind of jumped in and started following the step-by-step modules, and the way that y'all have everything laid out is very logical and replicable, as I'm like taking notes and writing things, I'm like, oh, I can see how this can translate into several different avatars. And so I really just followed the steps. I didn't do anything very special.
Well, you definitely did, because I mean, obviously, we want to create a world-class program, and we hope everyone gets the best results in the world, but some people just don't. And you are definitely one of those people that put in the action. You showed up every single day to make that happen. So you got to give yourself a lot of credit there, because you definitely kick butt in the program for sure. So tell us, can you walk us through, because I'm sure everyone on this call, they're not here to just listen about our program. They want to hear more about your campaigns and maybe some of the lessons that you learned about the avatars that you're approaching. What kind of offers you're delivering to them?
Yeah.
Can you walk us through that journey?
Yeah, because we've tested a few different things. And I think that with each time, and I've always approached it, as I'm kind of like partnering with my husband, and I'm the only one that's really doing this, so I'll come to him and I'm like, well, here's what we're doing and I need your help with this. And but as I'm kind of telling him this, I'm like, look, I'm going into this of like this Facebook ads, it takes some testing and it takes some experimentation, and I'm okay with that. And so I think that the process we're getting closer and closer and closer every time to being like, okay, I think, that was great, but maybe not, we're not going to continue in that direction. Like, for example, we started with, and honestly, this was just kind of my idea. I don't even think I've like asked y'all about it. I think I was like, I'm going to do this. We're trying to push runners. And so we were like, we'll do a running assessment, And so I kind of came up with, I think it was like a 4 or 5 point running assessment. And we just ran an ad for that. And I would say it was successful. As in we got a ton of leads. We converted most of them all showed up. But as time went on and I was getting feedback from our therapist, they were like, I mean, this is good, but like, we were capturing a lot of people. And I know that a lot of this was the way that I had just worded things in my ad. And I think that this is where the just testing and experimentation came in. We were capturing a lot of runners who they didn't really have a lot of pain or issues. They were just kind of saw it more of like a form check, or this would be nice if I did this, but I don't really want to keep coming, you know? And so we had a lot of people who would just come once. And so we certainly made money from it. We didn't lose any money at all. But as we discussed it with the therapist, we were like, I don't know if this is our best strategy. Like, I think we can make this better. So then I went in and I kind of changed some of the wording to make it a little bit more towards what we were looking for. You know, runners that had specific pain issues that they knew that they really needed to deal with. And so then we noticed the quality of lead and the quality of patient started becoming better. And so that was one way that we've noticed it. And I think that the next time we want to target runners, we're going to try doing it more, maybe body part specific. I know one of our therapists she loves treating like Achilles tendons. I don't know, it's like her thing. And so we were like, hey, well, let's next time, let's test treating, you know, running an offer specifically for Achilles with runners. And then let's just compare, like, what's the quality of lead? What's the, how many visits do they book? And that kind of thing. So that we started with the runners. Then we went into about the next month doing like a mobility assessment, just kind of like a full body, like mobility and movement screen.
Nice.
That was not as successful. And I think that it was really helpful. We ran it for a couple of weeks. And again, we never lost the money. We always made back our investment and more. So it wasn't like, when I say it wasn't successful, it's not like we were losing money on it. I was like, I know this can be better. And then you and I had a meeting and you gave me some really great advice of just kind of like narrowing down and getting ever more specific with getting in their heads and kind of what people are really looking for. So then we transitioned into running ads for a shoulder assessment. And that was the first time that we had done it kind of like body part specific. And that has been extremely successful. That's the one that we ran, the ad we ran all in February. And so that one has really taken off. And so I think, yeah, so it's just been kind of a process of experimentation, but it's all been good and a learning experience, and you've helped us along the way.
That's a real veteran move to pull out the, you know, you're getting the leads are coming in for the IEs, but you know that they're not ready for the plan of care. Did you have something to say about that, Ben? Sorry.
Yeah. No, you're good. You're good. No, I love what you said about that, Emily, because we did one of our best campaigns was actually targeted for runners. So I wanted to kind of give you some insight that might be able to help you too, because we ran into the kind of the same thing where we were kind of just doing a general analysis, and we got kind of the same thing that you did, Emily, where people were just like wanting a form check. We started talking specifically about like runner's knee or knee pain, and really niche down in that, and that helped immensely with that.
Yeah.
And we also changed that first phone call with them too before they scheduled an evaluation. It helped with our patients decreasing our no-show rate, and also increased the likelihood of them converting to a plan of care. What we started saying towards the end was pre-framing that, you know, they're going to need, in a nice way, saying like they're probably going to need follow-up visits, right?
Yeah.
Like we say, like, you know, typically the initial evaluation is X, but it's only $49 or whatever the offer is. We have a running specialist. He sees this day in and day out, and typically, based on everything that you told me, Mrs. Smith, patients just like yourself that we've seen in the past typically only need between 5 to 10 visits, and they're back to running. They're back to hitting this mileage. They're hitting X, Y, and Z, right? So we started pre-framing that they're going to need follow-up visits instead of just saying like, okay, come in for the assessment, and then they get hit, you know, at the end of the visit, like, yeah, you're going to need follow-up visits. It's like, whoa, I didn't, you know, I thought this was just like, a lot of people don't know exactly what's all entailed with the assessment. Yeah. So by us pre-framing that, you know, you're only going to need, right? But only going to need, you know, 5 to 10 sessions. You'll be back to X, Y, and Z. And that helped immensely with getting patients to convert to a plan of care by pre-framing that information and the route going forward too. So little tidbits that we think would make a huge difference. So hopefully that will help you guys too. So.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I love that. So Ben, I heard, and I want to throw this in the comments. So the number one tip that you had to improve conversions to plan of care and repel those kind of one-off freebie seekers? Because we all know, like, and that's what if you're only getting people in for an IE, even though they might be profitable, as Emily, you've already realized, like the opportunity cost on those people for your PTs is massive, because that could have been one person who was going to buy a plan of care, and
Yeah.
obviously we want to mitigate that. So what was the other tip? Did you have another one besides talking about and setting the expectation that they will need more than one visit on the call then?
Yeah, so I mean, also by pre-framing that they're going to need follow-up visits, it was also in one way it decreased like the no-shows too, where people not show or getting people that are really truly bought in is kind of by pre-framing that they're probably going to need follow-up visits, that if they're just going to come in for this assessment, it's not really going to be all that beneficial for them, right? So now they're not going to be taking a spot of somebody that would normally be able to slide into that evaluation and continue with plan of care. So it helped decrease our no-shows as well. So it kind of solved two issues with that as well. And then just niching down on a specific injury to decrease the runners that aren't really having a whole lot of pain that just want a form check as well. So, so I like the Achilles idea and what you guys are going to do with that. I think I'll be successful. So
cool. Yeah, I'm excited to try it.
We're getting some love in the comments here. Brian Broussard called his medical running analysis and it helped his conversions. Brian also had the same issue where people were coming in, but they're only coming in for that IE. So Emily, what kind of language did you change that increased the quality of the running leads?
Well, this seems like a funny detail, but it honestly made a big deal. I think I had included originally, I did kind of like a step-by-step of like, here's what you'll receive. And in that process, I'd included a slow motion video of them running on a treadmill, because that's what we have at the clinic. And for whatever reason, the idea of our PTs watching them run was super attractive to people. And that alone was what attracted a lot of people, but it also attracted people that just wanted a form check, where they're like, what? I'm not really hurting. I just feel like this would be a good thing to do, but then the therapists were also like, actually, there's so much included in this that it's kind of hard to get through all this list in the first hour, And so I took that part out. And then I changed a couple of the testimonials that I had in the ad. And instead of, I think the ones I had before were just a little more like performance oriented. And then I put in some that just explicitly said just more about pain, you know what I mean? And just more, I had this pain and I couldn't run and now I can run kind of thing. And we did see that make a big difference.
Nice. Yeah, that's huge. People don't think about those. Those testimonials really do have an impact on the caliber of person you bring, because people see themselves in those stories. And you want to make sure that they're the right people that represent the avatar with the greatest lifetime value. So that's honestly, like, kudos for even like picking that out. Most people, that's an insight that most people don't find on their own. So good job there.
Thanks.
Tell me, now that people kind of, and people want to see those ads, and maybe if we have time for it, we will show them. But the number one thing that I want to do with this call is make sure that you get as much value out of it as possible. So the issues that I know that you want to help overcome is, one, just making sure more people are converting from initial evals into plan care. And Ben already gave some world-class advice on how to better set those expectations, but I'd love to dig into that a little bit more, and then get into preventing those no-shows and some things that you can do within the system that you already have access to prevent those no-shows. And then number 3 is retargeting. So are there any other things that you want to make sure that we cover in the next 15 minutes that we have?
No, that sounds good.
Perfect. Ben, what other kind of strategies do you implement at your practice to just make sure that the people who are coming in aren't just going to be wasting your time, taking up an hour of your staff's time?
Right. Yeah. So the quality of the ad makes a huge difference. Like we've already alluded to that and talked about that. So that is huge, right? We also, what sometimes people will do that can decrease the quality or the likelihood of them showing up is they change their first initial phone call. Their first initial call is different than what they do for every other patient. What I mean by that is when somebody calls, whether they're a lead from a Facebook ad or they are from like a referral or they are finding us through Google or Yelp, our sales process and our phone conversation is 99% of the time this exact same. We're just changing a few different things. So building value and explaining like what the process is going to look like as well for treatment and what treatment looks like. Like, initial evaluation is going to look like this. You're going to get X, Y, and Z. Treatment is like X, Y, and Z, and explain how it's kind of different than traditional physical therapy as well.
Mhm.
And then one strategy we did this occasionally was you can take their payment, be like, this is just to have on card on file. If you don't, we mentioned our 24-hour cancellation policy. Like this will only be charged if you don't give us 24 heads up. So that can be a strategy that you use. I try to avoid that if possible. We found that by pre-framing it and setting expectations about the importance of it, and like showing like, hey, if you don't show, like we also talk about our 24-hour cancellation policy, stating that, out of respect for patients that are on the wait list, please give us 24 heads up so other people have a chance to claim that spot if you can't make it. So don't make the 24-hour cancellation policy about like profits or anything like that. Show them like, hey, this is going to affect other people if you don't show up. There's other people that, I mentioned I tell them like, we usually fill about a week or two in advance. Please give us 24 heads up so other patients on the wait list can claim that spot. And so you can, people have empathy. Everybody's got a little bit in them, and so that can help with things too. So there's a couple different things, but the biggest thing is pre-framing and setting expectations with the plan of care as well. So
yeah, definitely.
Emily, what kind of things do you do once someone does book? Like what is the process that's outside, including what we already have? Is there anything else that you guys do to kind of pre-frame them and get them ready for the appointment?
Yeah, so we have a full-time office manager, and so she's the one that usually does most of the phone calls, but I also, like if it's on a weekend, then I'll do phone calls. And I used to do all of our phone calls, so I'm pretty familiar with the process. And we recently went through a front desk sales training that was awesome with Jerry Durham. And so we have learned a lot over the past, yeah, we've learned a lot over the past several months about exactly what you're saying of setting expectations and making pre-framing and all that. So we are working on that. I think that continuing to tweak the way that we say things is something that we need to keep focusing on, because we have gotten more no-shows recently. And sometimes it surprises me who will no-show, because I'm like, I was just talking to you. You were so excited about this, but we also have been implementing more automations, kind of like what we have set up here. And so just more confirmation texts and getting them on the phone and, hey, well, what's a good time to get on the phone? And are we still good to talk at this time? To make sure that we connect at the right time. We do always try to give them the right expectations on the phone, depending on what they're telling us, of like, hey, just so you know, or I personally always say, I'm like, I want to give you the right expectations of, based on everything that you're telling me, this problem is not going to be solved in one visit. And usually, they're like, oh, haha, I know, and I'm like, well, I just want to make sure that, you're going to get a lot of answers on this first visit. And after you're assessed, then the therapist is going to give you an idea of kind of what you're looking at and how many visits, you can expect for this to take to really get back to 100%. But we're filling up. And so we do try to book as many visits as they will allow us to on that first phone call. And it's just kind of hit or miss. A lot of people are like, I just want to wait and see, what the therapist says. And we're like, okay, that's cool. But just so you know, by the time you get there, they may be booked up for the next couple of weeks, and you may not be able to get in and start that plan the way that you want to. So we do try to have them reserve a few appointments in advance. But yeah, just everything you're saying, we're still working on tweaking how we're saying those things, but that's our goal.
Yeah,
for sure.
I like that. Like kind of jogged my memory too. We use PT Everywhere for a documentation system. I'm not sure what you guys use, but we've tried. We've opted into where the patient gets text reminders and then also email reminders. We did try the 24 hours. It worked okay, but we recently changed to 48 hours a couple months ago, and that's been amazing. With just giving us more time we just found that I think there's a 24, 48 hour and 72 hour. We found that the sweet spot's the 48 hour. It gives us enough time if they do cancel or need to reschedule. It gives us more time, not just for Facebook ads, but for no-shows or reschedules or patients that are scheduling. Just gives us more heads up to fill that spot. So that's one trick that we use that's been great for us. And then also email drip campaigns to help provide them with more value and just staying front of mind, right? As well, they get about 6 emails before they actually come in, depending on the time frame. And if they schedule tomorrow, they're obviously not going to get all of those, but it's still just staying front of mind, especially if they're booked out a week or two from the initial call. If we found that if they get past that 1 week time frame, the likelihood of them no showing or canceling increases as well. So staying front of mind. One thing that Jerry does as well is giving them a phone call about 24 hours in advance or before their call, and just be like, hey, just wanted to call to remind you about your appointment at X. Looking forward to seeing you there. And it's just another contact point. So more contact points you have, the better.
I think that we've started doing that phone call reminder. And then I'm glad you said that about the email campaign, because I have those set up in our typical like lead conversion to but I've got a whole different pipeline, for the shoulder assessments that we've been running. And I have not, I have it set right now that as soon as they book, they stop getting those reminder emails. And I need to go in and add the leading up to your evaluation emails like our other patients get. We are also working on, I've been doing all this behind the scenes automation email stuff, trying to up my game a little bit. But I'm going to start personalizing their welcome email to be from the therapist that they're scheduled with. Right now, everybody gets a welcome email, and I think my husband's face is on the bottom of it. It's technically from him as the clinic owner, but I'm going to start personalizing it to whoever they are scheduled with, so that they see their therapist's face and they're welcomed personally. They're going to get reminder texts coming from that therapist, also saying hey, I see that you were booked. If you have any questions before that, hit reply and let me know. So that hopefully they'll feel slightly more connected to the person they're going to see.
I really like that. I might actually steal that, Emily. So thanks for sharing that. I like that a lot.
And then we're also, we're trying to set up, my husband and I just talked through a lot of workflow stuff the other day, and I'm starting to implement just more automated text stuff, which I'm really excited about the capability that you introduced me to do that to, Jordan, of even when they cancel their eval, they're going to get a text message. It's going to be automated from their therapist saying, hey, I saw that you canceled your evaluation. I hope that, we can find another time to meet, but it's really important to me that everybody who contacts us gets taken care of. So if it would be helpful for us to hop on a phone call, or if you have any questions, sorry, am I still there? I just got a phone call. Okay, sorry. I got a phone call and it started, my screen went. To say, if you have any questions, because they're probably just uncertain or doubtful about something, anything that needs to be cleared up, hey, here's my number, reply. And we'll see how that works. We haven't implemented it yet, but again, just hoping to take care of patients a little bit more personalized and create more of that relationship there.
I like that.
Yeah,
I like that.
I love that. So are you using the appointment reminders that are built into the Go High Level account that you got when you joined us?
I am not, only because I have been using Active Campaign for almost a year, and we're just too deep into it to switch everything over. I just have so much built out in it, but I did use Go High Level to get just familiar with the system and kind of compare the two systems for the first month. And I loved it, and I really was like, oh, maybe we can switch over here, but we're just too deep in the other one. Right. But I loved Go High Level, and it really functions the same way. And, some things are a little, I like how you can picture things in Go High Level a little bit differently. And some of that I found was easier, actually.
Yeah. What might be worth it, in addition to what you're doing in Active Campaign, just to have something that's, reminding these leads, is just implement the texting part. Leave the email out of it, but have the 24-hour text reminder, just because obviously the deliverability of that is infinitely better than email. So that might be something that would really help those no-shows as well.
Yeah, definitely.
Excellent. Okay. Any other questions about setting the expectations to getting people into those IEs, or pre-framing them in different ways, or anything about just reducing no-shows?
I don't think so. I think we covered it.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
Yeah.
And obviously, if
Yeah.
anything pops up, you can reach back out about that.
Yeah.
Let's transition to more about the ads and the remarketing. And I know you want to start doing virtual workshops, which you have to. I'm going to poke you until you start doing it, because you have so many leads that are so hot.
Yeah.
And especially with the snowstorm, if you run that is going to be one of the most profitable campaigns you've ran in this program.
Okay.
So let's talk a little bit about that.
Yeah. So I had every intention of doing it. I honestly have just not had the time to go through the modules of kind of like learning how to do it and setting up the back end part of it, because I asked Clay the other day, I was like, so when I set this up, are you like, is it going to take you he's like, oh no, I've got like a shoulder workshop all prepared in my head. Like, it's not going to take me anything to just whip that out, and so I need to just sit down and set up the back end part of it. But you're right, because I think I saw today in just the past month for our shoulder ads, I think we've reached like 25 or 30,000 people or something like that. Just reach. And then there's definitely still people on our list that have not converted, or we spoke with them and then they no-showed or canceled, before that. We've just reached a lot of people. And, we have a lot of people on our list that I think that taking that next step of setting up a virtual workshop, I think that you're right. I just need to sit down and make it happen.
Yeah, you definitely got to make sure set that up. Obviously, whenever you do it, it's going to be successful. Facebook really has your area dialed in for those shoulder ads. So I would just throw yourself to the wolves, pick a date, make yourself do it.
Okay. Is it beneficial to like jump on that now, I'm assuming, while they're still kind of recent? Okay.
100%. Because what's going to happen, and for everyone listening, because you're probably wondering, like, how do we just jump to virtual workshops from where we're doing? So how our system works is it all starts with Facebook ads. It goes directly to a very tailored offer, as Emily kind of alluded to. So we start with a very specific offer. Some of those people are going to book right away. Some people are going to convert to plans of carry right away. A lot of those people are going to, not trust you enough to want to take action. So what we do on the back end of all of our stuff is we run virtual workshops to remarket to everyone who's newly on our list, as well as running ads to new people to join them. So what happens is a ton of people who weren't ready to buy right away attend those workshops, and then they end up converting. So for you specifically, because based on everything you're telling us with those shoulder leads, and some people come in and they're just not really ready to commit, what I would recommend you do, that not only when you do this workshop, but what you offer at the end of it, is don't offer them the same thing that you have been running for ads. Don't do the, what have you been doing? 79 shoulder assessment?
$79.
Okay. So instead of doing that, I think you should sell something that requires a larger commitment, and therefore get more buy-in from these people, so that they're much more committed to coming more than once. So what I think you do is something around $150 shoulder assessment. And I think you're going to not only get people who are buying and converting on plans of care that are much more excited. So I definitely think you should go with the high ticket one with this audience, just because it's so hot. There's so many people new to your list and within your community that are looking for it. I think that'll be a big win for you.
Okay, awesome. Sounds good.
Pick a date.
Yeah, I need to.
I'll chase you down.
Yeah.
The second part was, are you still running those retargeting ads?
They may be on. I may have turned them off, but like I don't know. I may have set it up wrong. I followed the step by step, but I got like literally nobody. So I haven't been charged anything because nobody messaged me.
Yeah. So what it sounds like is your audience size is too small. So for any remarketing, and maybe you already probably, how many people visit your website a month? Do you know?
I don't know that many. Like, I mean, it's getting to be a little bit more now, actually, that we've implemented this, like maybe 150 per month.
That's why your ads are being shown. So for Facebook, just so people can't be too creepy with remarketing, they require an audience, like 500 is like the minimum a month. Otherwise, it's just too few people. And if you could remarket to those, 150, 200 people a month, and you had, say, $20 behind it, Facebook would have to show those people those ads every single day, and the frequency would be through the roof and ruin those people's users' experience. So that's why Facebook requires you to have a little bit larger of an audience before it starts delivering those ads.
Okay.
That style of remarketing might not be the best. What I would recommend doing for remarketing to anyone who has opted in, or if you're trying to build a bigger remarketing audience, I would create some content around shoulders and how people can start doing stuff from home, because then you can retarget that video audience. And that's a lot easier to, rack up over 500 views than it is to get 500 people to your website.
Yeah.
Okay. Does that make sense?
Yeah, definitely.
That'd be my next step with that. Either do video content or just hold off on it.
Okay. And do it for a video view objective?
Yep. So you'd want to just throw, I don't know, $5, $10 behind it, create video, obviously. Let's talk about how to structure that just to make sure you do it right. Yeah. And then just push it out for a month with the retargeting campaign behind it. And that will serve you much better at this stage.
Okay. Awesome.
Beautiful. Any other questions that we can help serve you? I know you gotta run and do the motherly duties.
Yeah, I mean, go cook dinner for everybody. I don't think so. No, I mean, I think that I need to jump on the opportunity for a shoulder webinar at this point, and then probably wrap up the shoulder, and then I think we're going to move on to probably a golf assessment, because we actually have an in-person golf workshop scheduled for the 1st of April. So if, that I think that we can actually invite people to, from the community. So we may start doing that into the spring, but I'm excited. I think that, it keeps getting better and better. As we test things, I keep getting more and more familiar. I've learned a lot from y'all about how to look at the stuff and see, is it actually working? Because before, I'm like, well, I don't know what I'm looking at. Is it working or is it not working? But y'all have taught me kind of the metrics to look at. So I've felt a lot more confident this month and testing things out, and it's going really well. So I'm really excited.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Well, keep us posted. Obviously, we're here for you to make sure that you continue to crush it. So let's start focusing on, now that you have the front end systems down, let's focus on scaling those out and getting those no-shows down.
Yes, definitely.
Excellent. Well, Emily, thank you so much for being here. Can't tell you how much it means to us that not only that you're in the program, but you're here willing to share your results and your experience with other people. So thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. You're welcome.
Excellent. So if you want to bounce out now, you totally can. For the next 5 minutes or so, we're going to have an invitation for a select few of you guys, if you would like to come and check out what it might look like to work with us and implement this type of system for yourself. So later, Emily.
Bye, Emily. Nice meeting you.
Yeah. Ben, you want to break it down and invite people to jump on a call with us? I always do it.
For sure. I'll see if I can zone in here. So, but yeah, so, I mean, the main thing is with this call is we want to figure out where you're at, what you're struggling with, and where you want to go ultimately, right? And see if we can help. If we can help you, we'll let you know. But if not, we've got tons of resources of other people that can as well. So this just it's a win-win. Even if it doesn't, even if we're not a good fit, we'll be able to point you in the right direction and also give you some actionable stuff that you can take action on right away and start giving you some value too, just based on that call as well. So hopefully that was on par.
Yeah, we're done here. We're done. Nailed it, man. Yeah, you guys, we just love helping people and serving people and helping them win, whether it's with us or someone else. So if you would like to figure out, if you're feeling stuck in your marketing, if you feel like you've been trying a ton of things, but you're just burning your wheels and you're almost burnt out on doing all the grassroots stuff, you're networking, but it's just not really coming through, I highly, highly recommend just jumping on a call with Ben and I, because not only are we going to help you feel better about it, because you're definitely not alone. We talk to people every single day that are going through the exact same things. And so we'll outline a game plan of what we see and what we know to be working. And if that sounds good to you, we'll invite you to go on a deeper dive call where we can talk about what our program actually looks like. But this 15-minute call is all about you. It's all about answering your questions, helping you overcome your challenges, and giving you an action plan, whether that's with us or with someone else. We refer people more often than we invite them to join our program. So don't feel like we're going to strong arm you or anything. Ben and I are pretty nice guys. We don't push people into sales. So everyone, if you guys want to jump on a call, just comment strategy call or ads game. Let's stick with strategy call, and one of our members of our team will follow up with you to get you scheduled to chat with one of us. But everyone, thank you so much for being here. We love all of you guys. If you have any questions about how to implement this stuff, feel free to throw them on this video, and one of us will follow up with you. Later, everybody. Peace.